some few minutes for our question and answers. We have had actually a few questions come through. We will get to them. I will throw the first one actually to our audience. Maybe I will actually ask Isabella the first question, if that's okay. Given the COVID situation and the effects that it's had on supply chains, is there anything that you can recommend from the regulation side or from the government sides that could help to alleviate this up and down of the costs of the solar and components to make it more even?
Frankly speaking, I think the price variation is really depends on the supply and the demand balance. And as I showed that in my previous slides, starting from last July, the silicon price actually increased a lot. That is because of the shutdown and the examination of the equipment. So when there was a shortage of silicon supply, actually the silicon raw material price will increase. So it's a pure market activity rather than a government can do to inject some regulations. Especially in China, I think that we have more than 180 PV module capacity at this moment. And for the wafer and cell, actually, there was a big shortage and big gap between cell capacity and to the module capacity. And the Chinese manufacturers saw that gap. So we spend a lot and we invest a lot in this supply chain capacity in order to make, we have sufficient products to meet the end demand. However, we still have like time lag for different stage of the supply chain to check the equipment and to handle with the unexpected accidents. So yeah, it's a pure market driven situation now in China.
So pure market driven situation. Good. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Thanks for taking the question. We have another question here, which is an interesting one and a very important one, in fact. The question says, is there any major impact on the environment from this energy in Bahrain and the Gulf countries? So, you know, we have, of course, in most of the GCC, we are running our power systems on gas. So does anybody want to answer that? Is there an impact on the environment, in the current environment?
If I can answer it, Alex.
Please, Ren.
Yeah, actually, this question is, I think it is made of two questions within one question he asked. First thing is major impact of environment of energy on energy in Bahrain and Gulf countries. Actually, if you see the environment impact on energy in GCC, specifically, if you see the usage of energy is increasing because the temperatures, because of the temperatures that have been increasing in the GCC as a whole. Normally, it is referred in technical terms as degree days. So if you see for a cooling plant, the equivalent full load hours, previously it used to be around 2,500, 2,600 equivalent full load hours per year. But because of the climate change, because of the increase in temperatures, the same equivalent full load hours is in the range of around 2,750 to 3,000 hours per year now. So because of the climate change, the power consumption is increasing. And the second question is, are there visible use of renewable energy in Bahrain and Gulf countries? Yes, visible use is there. Visible presence is there. Nearly 8,000 megawatt plants have been installed or being installed. Plus, As you see in Bahrain, some landmark projects have been done wherein solar PV power plants have been installed on the tank, like Dr. EVA chairman has presented. It has been shown that for the roof, for these tanks in the water distribution network, solar PV panels have been installed. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ram.
Alex,
Thanks for that.
can I just add one point to this?
Please do.
So one of the significant impacts of the environment on specifically the energy production in GCC and Bahrain is the impact of heat. So again, it's a common fact in the industry, but not well known widely, is that the temperature increase actually reduces the energy generation of solar PV systems. So that is something, and all the solar panels at the ideal temperature are built for 25 degrees centigrade cell temperature at the panel. So when we actually see over a period of 25 years, the back sheets of the solar panels are bound for more degradation in GCC countries and this region compared to other areas. So the build quality of the panels plays a very significant role. And even in this case, what we usually prefer is a double glass solar module, where you have two sides of glass sandwiching the solar cells instead of having a backsheet, because of the same reasons. The high temperatures induce more degradation, and also they reduce the life of the solar panels.
Thanks very much for that, Harish. I'd like to ask Dr. Bassam a question. This is of course, we're talking here about energy regulations and strategies, and you're one of the companies that has signed up with the government of Bahrain on the first renewable PPA. Can you tell me what was the most challenging part of the process that you've gone through, please?
Thank you, Alex, for the question. Actually, there was a lot of parts, challenging parts of that PPA. And even that I spent 5 months developing that PPA, and we already signed it. If you give me the chance to go once again to review it, I will try to improve it in a better way. One of the challenges that we had during developing the PPA, that the prices of the material or the solar panels start to jump up, and we as a winning tenderer, we already submitted our document with a feed-in tariff. It is a fixed feed-in tariff, and the prices of the panels, the prices, of almost everything start to just jump up, and that was quite a challenge. I tried during the PPA just to try to implement any article inside the PPA just to give me the right to increase our feed-in tariff in the future based on the increasing of the price, or based on the inflation which could happen in the future. But actually it wasn't possible. It wasn't possible. That was one of the challenges that I had during the negotiation of the PPA. Also, and this is out of the general topic, during the time when we were doing the PPA and making the negotiation, there was a time lag. I'm in Japan, the people over there in Bahrain, they start in the morning. For myself, it is almost in the afternoon or late at night. For them, they work for 3-4 hours and they are still energetic. For myself, it is almost midnight, and I am tired. It was really, you know, a challenge. But I feel that was because of COVID-19. If there was no COVID-19, it was much more easier for me just to be over there in Bahrain and to negotiate the deal face to face. There is a lot of other challenges regarding the regulation, regarding you know, accepting an IPP companies in Bahrain. This is another topic which is a bit far from the PPA. But I believe Bahrain is moving forward in the issue of renewable energy. If we look to the history of the net metering started in 2017. It's almost like 4 years. So we need to expect that there will be more updates and enhancement for the net metering policy and for other regulation in the future, which is going to bring more investors and more technology into the country. You know, this is in short my answer for your question. And if you allow me just to give one comment, which is out of these questions, it is regarding to the solar energy. I'm going to talk to my colleagues in here and to the audience in the same time. Bahrain is a very beautiful country. The city itself, it is, you know, piece of art. So when you try to implement solar power, implement it inside the city with architectural touch. Don't bring this hard, you know, blocks and just implement it in the city. Don't kill the beauty of the city. This is an important issue which I was feeling, no, it is not this way. You know, outside of the city, do it the way you like it. But inside the city, please keep the beauty of the city. It is important. You know, this is a message for everybody working in this field. It is our responsibility to have a green energy, and it is our responsibility in the same time to keep the environment, even the architectural environment, clean and beautiful. Thank you, Alex, for allowing me to comment on you know, to add this comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the kind words about our beautiful country, and well noted that when we do something, hopefully to improve the climate and the environment and to become clean, that we make sure that we don't have negative consequences. And that's very, very important. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. So there are some very good questions here. Maybe we'll try to answer them online a little later on. But for us now, thank you to my panelists. Thank you very much for a very interesting first session. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I hope our audience have learned something from this session. Susanna, over to you.
Our sincere appreciation goes to the moderator and speakers for providing in-depth perspective and innovative approaches toward a roadmap for accelerating renewable energy from alternative to mainstream. May this vision of building partnerships to connect clean energy to households become a reality in the near future. We will now have a 20-minute break, and I would like to remind you to take this opportunity to network with your fellow attendees. I request you to return to the auditorium at 1 p.m. to continue with our next session.